Hello everyone, we are Group 1 and today we're gonna present Chapter 2 to you, which is the Internet, the Web and Electronic Commerce. Our team consists of
Hello, I am Adam.
My name is Zakirin.
Hi everyone, my name is Brandon.
and my name is Eunice.
So for this topic, there are a few main contents. First is origins of web, and next web access, web utilities, internet communications, search tools, electronic commerce or e-commerce, cloud computing, and lastly Internet of Things, which is IoT.
So the first one is the origins of web. What is the Internet? The Internet is a large global network connecting smaller networks all over the globe, and it is launched in 1969. The US funded a project named ARPANET, which is the abbreviation for Advanced Research Project Agency Network, to develop a national computer network. And in 1991, the World Wide Web was introduced. So first of all, we would like to talk about the web. And we have three generations of web. And our first generation is Web 1.0. It focuses on linking existing information. It is the first generation where search programs were created, and it provides links to websites with specific words or phrases. And the second generation is Web 2.0. It is more on dynamic content creation. And the most familiar social media that we know of is Facebook. And currently we are using Web 3.0, and one of the properties is to be able to personalize content creation for users. And remember that the internet and the web are totally different. The internet is the physical network, and the web is for the multimedia interface to the resources available on the internet. What are the common internet uses? The first one is communicating by sending email, photos, videos, or having discussions. Example, Google Meeting or Zoom. And we can use internet to do shopping, online shopping, searching via virtual libraries, and we can use it for education or e-learning, like how classes are conducted right now, and also for entertainment, for example, watching movies or playing online games. To access the web, first of all, we need an internet access providers, also known as ISP. ISP uses DSL cable, telephone lines, or wireless connection to gain access to the internet. For some of the common ISP in Malaysia, for example, U Mobile, Celcom, and Unify. Next, to access the web, you need to have browsers so that we can explore all the web resources, and we can use browsers such as Google Chrome, Opera, and Mozilla Firefox. After we have opened our browser, the next step is to type URL into the address bar. The full sentence, the full name for URL is Uniform Resource Locator. And it has three parts. The first one is protocol, which is known as the HTTPS, and it is known for being the most common for web traffic. And the second one is domain name, and the third one is top level domain. The top level domain, as you can see, it is at the back. It is at the back. The last part, which is sometimes it is used to it is used to identify the type of organization. So commonly we can see that for URL, we always see the .com at the back, which stands for commercial, and .edu stands for educational, .gov stands for government, and .net stands for network. Do you know a website is created by using HTML? And HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It is a markup language for displaying web pages. And once we finish coding, the browsers, they will interpret the HTML commands and display a web page for us. And we can use Java or HTML to write the coding. And while hyperlink, it is used to connect other web pages, for example, text file, graphic images, audio, and video clips.
Web utilities are programs that makes the user safer and easier while surfing the internet. There are 4 types of web utilities, which is plugins, filters, file transfer utilities, and internet security suites. For the first one, plugins. Plugins is a program where it starts as you open your browser and operate as part of it. It is to improve your browsing experience. Most of it enables the usage of special file formats and multimedia elements, such as video playing and image viewing. Some of it is even for playing games on the internet. Some of the examples are Adobe Flash Player, Unity Web Player, QuickTime Player, Adobe Acrobat Reader, and Windows Media Player. The second one is filters. Filters allows user to restrict access to selected sites, and it could set time limits. It also monitors users' total time spent on the internet or a specific websites. It is to control other users' activity on the internet. Some of the examples are AVG Family Safety, Custodio Parental Control, Norton Online Family Net Nanny, McAfee Family Protection, and AdBlock. File transfer utilities. File transfer utilities allow users to upload or download files to and from the internet. This utility is very important nowadays, as a lot of users on the internet download or upload stuff for many different purposes. There are 3 usual types of programs, which is File Transfer Protocol or FTP, or Secure File Transfer Protocol SFTP, Web-based File Transfer Service, or BitTorrent or uTorrent. Internet Security Suites. Internet Security Suites is a program to maintain your security and privacy while surfing the web. It's pretty much a collection of software utilities that protect the user's computer from viruses and other malware. This is a need in every computer, as nowadays data breach, spyware, and malwares are pretty much everywhere on the internet. Some of the examples are McAfee Internet Security, Symantec Norton Internet Security, Kaspersky, and McAfee.
Right, we move on to the next section, which is internet communication, which is mostly the most popular of internet activities. First one is email. Email has 2 types of emails. So the first one is client-based. So we can call it as an email client. So client-based email, it must be installed on the computer. For example, like Apple Mail and Microsoft Outlook. For web-based email, it is also known as a web mail client, And this web-based email does not require any installation, for example, Google Mail and Yahoo Mail. Right. As a consumer, we always face this issue when we use email. For example, there's a feature called a spam email. Spam email is an unrequested email that keeps spamming our inbox. And we have to be very cautious when we want to deal with spam email because it contains a computer virus that has destructive programs attached to unsolicited email, which means that some of the spam emails sent to us might contain viruses that might affect our PC. Therefore, there's an act being proposed which is Can Spam Act, which is used to create an anti-spawn laws for control. Every marketing related to email must provide an opt-out option, which means that every marketing that is related to email must not spam their user or the followers, otherwise they got penalized for doing so. Next. Next is messaging. Messaging has two types. For the first one is the one we usually use is short message service, or can call it as SMS. It only contains text, and when you want to send message, it requires payment when you want to send it. And however, some devices can only support a maximum up to 160 characters only, which is for 7-bit mode, while for the 5-bit mode, you can only use up to maximum of 234 characters. Next is multimedia messaging service, or we can call it as MMS. It is only used to send images, videos, or sound only. There's no text is being used when you want to use MMS. And also, you require payment when you want to send image, video, or sound. And next is instant messaging. Instant messaging is an extension of emails that provide direct live communication between two or more people, which means that this instant messaging app contains a few features, for example, like video conferencing, file sharing, or remote assistant. Remote assistant means that we can seek for help with the AI assistant when we face any difficulties when we want to use the app. For example, like Facebook Messenger or AI, Google Hangouts. Next. Next is social networking. Social networking is used to connect people and organizations that share a common interest or activity, or we can call it as a social media. For example, like a well-known Facebook, we can see posts or posts by other people that has the same interest with you. The same goes with Instagram, where you can organize a IG live with your followers, and you can connect with your followers and communicate with them. But for LinkedIn is more towards a job vacancy, where the more connection you have in LinkedIn, the higher chances for you to get employed, which means that the employer will see how much you have connection with other people in LinkedIn. While for Google Plus is mainly for educational purpose and formal purpose. For example, if you want to post any videos related to science, theorem, or mathematics, you can do so in Google Plus. Next. Okay, next is blogs and microblogs. So the first one is blogs, which we usually see on the internet. It is a personal news page, and the first post you see on the blog is actually the recent post that has been written by the writer. As I said earlier, it's a date timestamp and arranged with the most recent items shown first. Next is microblog. Microblog is like Twitter, which means that every time you want to post a status, uh, there's a limit when you want to post it. So you have to make sure your post is precise and concise. At the same time, uh, you want to prevent any necessary words when you want to update posts on Twitter. Next. Finally is the webcast, podcast, and wikis. These three varies from one another. So the first one is webcast. Webcast is a streaming technology for live broadcast of audio and video. For example, Twitch, where it's a place for streamers to stream online games or maybe to share their music or play or any other necessary things that can be done by the streamers. However, for Twitch, for example, there will be no automated recording after the live broadcast ends, but the followers or the subscribers can clip up to maximum 30 seconds so that, for and can he or she can share the clip on the streamer side so that everyone can access it. Usually the clip is used for to capture the great moments during the live broadcast. Next is next is podcast. Podcast is more towards in audio form, and it has to be downloaded in order for you to use it. However, for Spotify allow access for consumer to listen to podcast online, and usually podcast is more towards formal approach. For example, if you want to hear a talk about motivation or maybe something more towards industrial talks, you can do so by going towards podcast. And it can also be transferred to media player for podcast that is normal, not outside of the Spotify. And the last one is wikis, or can say as a Wikipedia. It's a specially designed website that allows visitors to edit the contents of the original creator, which means that the ideas inside the ideas in the ideas of the content wrote by the original writer can be changed from time to time, and it supports collaborative writing.
Search tools. There are two types of search tools, which are search services and search engines. Let's talk about search engines first. Search engines are really just enormous database in which information from internet documents are stored. It assists users in finding information on the internet. Some of the examples of search engines are Google, Bing, and DuckDuckGo. These information are collected by using a program called Spider that in simple terms, it scans the internet and gathers info about individual documents. This Spider program comes from the category of search services. Search services operate websites and spiders to serve its functionality. There's this one more type of search engine called specialized search engine. They search for particular topics only, and very often there are many pages that cannot be found in general purpose search engines. One of the popular examples is Google Scholar, which is to search for scholarly literature such as journals and research articles. Content evaluation. The internet often contains information which are untested and inaccurate. Therefore, you should evaluate online content before using them. There's 5 criteria for evaluating web pages, which is authority, accuracy, objectivity, currency, and coverage. For authority, the credibility of writers is very important. As writers, a writer does not always have to be an expert in his or her field. However, adequate information need to be there to establish that the writer has some kind of authority to write on the subject. For accuracy, an article with multiple spelling errors and grammatical incorrectness raises concerns, so you should look for articles that are well written. For objectivity, writings, especially academic writings, need to be objective and have no biased contents. The writer must consider a topic from different perspectives to draw a satisfactory conclusion. For currency, a reliable website will show publication dates of the contents. Currency is all about context, and you need to decide on to what extent the publication date of an article impacts on what you're searching for. For coverage, a reliable website would provide enough evidence to support its claim and positions. If it doesn't, then it may be ungenuine.
So next is electronic commerce or e-commerce. So, e-commerce. The definition of e-commerce is buying and selling of goods over the internet. And there are three types of e-commerce. First is business to consumer, which is B2C. Second is consumer to consumer, which is C2C. And lastly, business to business, which is B2B. So, for business to consumer, uh, it's a sale of product or service to general public, and this is the fastest growing type of e-commerce. And the three most widely used B2C applications: online banking, financial trading, and online shopping. And one of the most prominent online shopping platform in Malaysia is Shopee and Lazada. And the online banking is, as you all know, Maybank to You or CIMB Clicks. And second type of e-commerce, consumer to consumer. This is an individual to individual platform, and it is usually web auctions where buyers and sellers seldom meet. And the bids are submitted electronically, or it can also be person to person auction sites. And one of the most famous sites for C2C is eBay, where people can bid for the item, and it's usually individual to individual. And the last type of e-commerce is business to business. It is a sale of a product or service from one business to another, and it is primarily a manufacturer supplier relationship where the manufacturer will sell the products to supplier, and so on down the chain. So for the e-commerce, one of the main important aspects is security, and payment methods must be fast, reliable, and secure. Is to provide a convenient way to submit buyer's information. And there are two options, which is credit card, which is fast and convenient, and digital cash, which is internet's equivalent to traditional cash, and it converts digital cash to currency through third party. Next is cloud computing. Cloud computing, shifts computing activities from users' computers to computers on the internet. It frees end users from owning, maintaining, and storing software programs and data. And the three basic components is client and user, us the user, the service providers, those who provide the service, and the internet, which is the linkers between clients and providers. And one of the main usage in cloud computing is cloud storage, and one of the most famous example is usually Google Drive, which stores our data in the clouds. And lastly is the Internet of Things, or IoT. So IoT is the continuing development of the internet. It allows objects embedded with electronic devices to send and receive data. For example, smartphones and wearable devices such as Fitbit or Apple Watch, which collects data, usually maybe our vitals or how much we've walked in a day, and it sends the data to the internet. IoT uses Web 3.0 applications. So, after the presentation, we have created a quiz for you to check your understanding on this chapter, the internet, the web, and electronic commerce. So you may scan the QR code to get the quiz form, and you may answer it. That's all from us. Thank you.